We're live. We're live across all socials. Man. YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it now. I feel pretty good about that. Y'all, today's been a day, man. And the whole wide world is changing in ways that are just difficult for me to wrap my head around. I got to speak at the REI Summit today, Brandon Turner's event, and that's extraordinarily interesting for a bunch of reasons. Most interesting to me because it's an echo chamber that I'm not normally in. I spend a lot of time in the cesspool that is digital marketers who are all AI experts now, all of us, and to listen to people with like real businesses that do real things uh, and get their frame was really interesting. And God forgive me for saying this, but like the whole world is so far behind. Um, just what it is. It's weird to see that. It's like there are certain places that are like the Jetsons and certain places that are more or less Stone Age. And a lot of these traditional businesses are very, very, very Stone Agey. So let's dive into it. My name is Qasim. If you don't know who I am or why I'm doing this is the Daily Sigh. I go live every single day at 6 p.m. Eastern, and to the very best of my ability, I give you everything that matters in the entrepreneurial world across business, AI, markets, platforms, and policies. And my goal is that I keep you up to date because it's overwhelming. So if you're a business owner with a real business doing real work and you don't know how to stay on top of what's going on, you don't have to. Just show up every day at 6 p.m. and you'll get a little caught up. You can hang out with us in the council. You can join for free. Just go to dailysigh.ai to join the live Zoom call, or stay where you are and just tune in. Be a lurker. That's fine too. Diving into it from Reddit, Anthropic shipped 74 features in 52 days using 90% AI written code. I'm going to read that again. Anthropic, who, if you don't know, Anthropic owns Claude. Anthropic shipped 74 features in 52 days, 1.5 features a day almost, using 90% AI written code. The competitive baseline for software development has shifted from months to hours. That's just mind-blowing. It's unreal. This is an extinction event for traditional development structures. And it's basically docs to demos is what they're calling it. From doc to demo. Like the document is just like the wish list. And it's like, all right, let's ship it and see how it works. From BBC, AI coding tool users are hitting usage limits way faster than expected. This is really relevant for everybody who's paying attention. This is signaling a mass market adoption of hyperspeed development tools beyond just elite AI labs. Everybody's using these damn things. And the market demand for AI-assisted programming is outpacing the supply of compute and tool availability. There's more demand than there is supply. And that's going to be true. I don't know. I mean, for the rest of humanity, like, I don't know how we can ever catch up, to be honest with you, unless we solve like fusion, right? Which I think is possible. I think the rumors are that they've already solved it and they just hide it from us. From Reuters, SpaceX files for IPO at a $1.75 trillion valuation amid AI infrastructure boom. Crazy to see that. The scale of this listing indicates massive capital flows towards infrastructure that supports the global AI and data ecosystem. Speaking of the problem, if anybody can solve it, it's Elon. From OpenAI's blog, the AI account manager replaces white-collar customer roles. Oh, good. Roles previously considered, quote, safe due to their human-centric nature are now being fully automated with GPT-4 and 5 models. Business owners must reevaluate every human-in-loop process to identify hidden inefficiencies. OpenAI made the same deal with the devil that everybody who's ever taken money made. And now they're trying to do something that's catastrophically damaging for a startup. And they're still a startup, no matter how you slice it or define startup. We can define terms all day. And OpenAI would land in startup no matter who's doing the definition. A startup shouldn't be worrying about early stage monetization like this. Like, they just shouldn't be worrying about profitability, especially not one that's basically an R&D company. So the fact that they're pushing features like this, I actually think is flawed. And they might just get away with it because the technology is going to move fast enough to. It's kind of that old rule that sales cures all. That was never true, but it always felt that way. We're seeing that here with innovation. Like the technological innovation is going to cure any of the sins that people decide to partake in. Workbeaver.ai launches a desktop agent. I thought this was pretty cool for small business specifically. A new category of AI agent executes complex workflows by controlling your desktop and browser. These tools allow small teams to automate multi-step operational tasks. I thought it was cool because it kind of helps you do the agentic thing without necessarily going and putting yourself at the mercy of something like OpenClaw, which, golly, I'm having the hardest time with OpenClaw. I don't know. I'd love to know what the council thinks about this, by the way, because I couldn't do it. I mean, I have it deployed, but it keeps running into all these problems. Some sub stories here. Qualtrics shuts down, delighted. I don't know what that means, and I don't care. AI's next bottleneck is physical energy. This is an article from Entrepreneur. Massive electricity demand from data centers is reshaping the global energy market. We knew that. VC News, venture investors demand execution or storytelling. Yeah, maybe. From Small Business Trends, Secure Act 2.0 compliance updates. This is interesting. New 2026 rules require auto enrollment for retirement plans and complex multi-state payroll audits. Remote work and new regulations have significantly increased administrative burden on the small business owner. Let's see. That's it for the news. Again, I go live every single day at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can get all of this summarized and sent to your inbox if you want to go to dailysigh.ai and sign up for the newsletter. If you want to come join us at the council, go to dailysigh.ai, click the join live button, join my free forever community, and you'll find the link in to Zoom in the calendar. And now, the moment we've all really been waiting for, let's turn it over to our illustrious council, the best looking group I've ever seen on Zoom, to be honest with you. I think if the AI thing falls through, we could all start up our own little Chippendales crew, to be honest. I'd be the front man, obviously. But that's not to say we all wouldn't have a niche. What's up, fellas? I see Jason, Grant, Brandon, Neil, Dylan. Everybody's fatigued, dude. That John Moran call, well, we had 30 people on that call. We got 6 now. I'm so mad. I'm so mad at how much of a draw he is. I'm so jealous. How was that, by the way? I had to leave early. How did that end?
Dude, that thing was like 3+ hours, man.
I
That
left
was
early at
Really?
2 hours.
so grateful. Was it 2 or was it 3? That was 3 hours.
I left at 2, and
Oh yeah,
then you
yeah,
guys were
yeah.
still going. I was like,
I
I got
left
work
at
to
3.
do.
Yeah, yeah. It was insane, man. Yeah, like the stuff he was showing behind the scenes, and wow, Dylan with the haircut. Uh,
You
yeah.
did not cut it, Dylan.
Oh, oh yeah.
Okay.
Top knot.
Wow. Wow.
Nice.
I was about to say, how dare you?
Yeah, yeah. Did a
Yeah,
samurai top knot. Yeah,
that's right.
because what he was showing behind the scenes was just wicked, and like, man, if any of the tracking tools were listening, he would have put them all out of business. That's why I'm trying to find
Dude, they
that.
should all be out of business.
Yeah,
Like it's so sad what they do. They're lying, and there's no way they don't know they're lying. There's no way,
the
you know?
decisions that they make. Like I'm glad I'm only on Google for what I do and very strategic. But if I
Yeah,
was on Meta, I would have lost companies a couple times over just playing in that game and using any of those tracking tools. Bad
yeah,
decisions to be made. Yeah.
yeah. It's sad, dude, the way that they actually it's this weird noose they put you in, and then they just tighten it by aiming at branded remarketing traffic, basically, but not calling it that. And then 2 years later, people turn around and they can't scale out of it. They're like, we don't have any customers. And it's like, well, yeah, you did nothing at the top of the funnel for 2 years. Of course, you don't have any customers. What
Yeah.
did you think was going to happen? Where did you think these people were coming from? So all these ROAS numbers and CPA numbers, it's all garbage. It's all such a freaking lie. And it's so funny. It shows you his integrity. That guy could make 20 times as much money as if he wanted to by just, you know what I mean, cashing the check and doing what people want him to do. But he's
Oh,
actually quitting because people won't listen to him. Like crazy.
yeah, no, he should be doing like enterprise level audits of
Yeah.
people's marketing teams and what they're doing inside. I mean, I go up against in Google alone what I watch people spend on. They're spending on keywords that they don't offer the product just to try and open up a wide net and convince somebody not to do that product or go their route in the financial services. And it's like you'd save a lot more money going after what it is that you want, being very strategic and not wasting on things that because they're still going to come over and they're still going to
Yep.
find the ones that are doing it, right? So you're just wasting there. But yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting what's happening. I thought what the most poignant thing he said while I was on the call was basically to summarize, you have to be good. You know what I mean? You have to be good. If you sell beef jerky, you better be good beef jerky, and it better not kill me, and it better not be cancerous, or you're appealing to an audience that doesn't care that it's a carcinogen. But like everything better be good. And my experience in business, and I've been in business as long as all y'all, most people are not good. Most people aren't good with what they do. Like what you do is an afterthought. You know, like I've gone through 5 pool cleaners, and one of them, and the one I have right now is mediocre at best. You know, and they all charge the same amount of money. They're all $150 a month. I would die for somebody to knock on my door, charge me $300 a month, but actually be good. And it's just this strange, like, lack of standard in almost every industry. And then when somebody's good, it's so easy to be the best, dude. And this feels really soapboxy, but I believe that. Like, it's so easy to be the best. You just do a little bit more. You do 10% more than everybody else, and the whole world is just blown away. So I think that's all that really, if you want to win the AI game from a marketing perspective, just go be the best, and AI is going to find you. That seems to be the simplest unlock right now.
Yeah.
Any challenges to that? Anybody disagree, Neil?
No, I don't disagree. I don't know what all of your entrepreneurial journeys have been, but one of the classics in the literature is, well, yeah, up and down for sure, is Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret, right? And that was written in what, 1957 or something like that?
Dude, have you heard the audio of him reading it?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's great. He's got
Yeah.
this real deep, like gravelly voice.
Yeah, it's so good.
So and there's one sentence in there that I think is the only thing you need to take away from the thing. It's like, if you don't know what to do, look at what everybody else is doing and do something different.
Mm.
And that's provably true, because if everybody were doing great, they would all be doing great. And
Yeah.
that's
the problem, is everybody pretends they're doing great.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, social media didn't exist in whatever year it was written, but yeah, it's just people are
Like
not.
I posted. Yeah. Don't be afraid of being different. Be afraid of being the same as everyone else.
Mhm. That's why this weird game we all play with education, and I play it too, by the way. I just did a quad code class. Okay, so I mean, we did 130 grand on 16 grand in ads. That's not a bad day. And the problem with education is, you came here, there's 500 people in this room who all learn the same thing, and they're all going to go out there and do the same thing. So we create our own little echo chamber monster. And then they flood the market with the same offer, because any example we provide in any of those instances, and this used to happen in Google Ads, I'd pick one industry as an example, and all these little Google Ads specialists would go and they'd carpet bomb that industry with Google Ads services. And I'd be like, dude, I gave you one industry as an example for the course. Like, not everybody can go after, whatever it ends up being, pet supplements. Like, there's a billion other industries out there. But education really, to Neil's point, it pushes people into this carbon copy. It's like a franchise, but without any of the guardrails. It's just everybody going out and doing the same damn thing. So I don't know, man. I guess we'll see. I'm supposed to be optimistic. I forgot. That's one of my mandates on this show. If you're watching us live, by the way, come join us on the Zoom. Go to dailysigh.ai. Birmingham AEO. You get John going and he can't stop. That's exactly right, dude. Birmingham, are you in my AEO community? Go to aeo.co, join for free. Are we buddies? Do I know you? I also see, shout out to JP, Nick, corporate surprises. That sounds like an HR problem. Joshua Day, if you can dial in ad copy and landing page, auction cost is moot. I agree. Joshua says, how am I only one here from YouTube? I don't know, man. I can't crack. Sometimes YouTube gives me a lot. Sometimes it doesn't. Council, how are you guys doing? How was today? What are y'all up to? What can we give the live viewers? What's the action item? What's the thing that you learned that everybody needs to go do? Dylan, always our first mover.
Unfortunately, Clinton isn't here, but the tip he gave yesterday about having Notebook LM make a podcast shit talking your website is very effective.
What? I didn't hear that. Give me the tip. What did he say?
So whenever you do in Notebook LM, you can put your own website as a resource, and there's an option to make podcasts. One of the podcast options is a critique. And so the hosts go through your website and critique it. And it was great But the question I had for him and for Grant, if he's played with it, is I haven't figured out continuity yet. Because at the end of every time they say, we encourage you to make these changes and then resubmit, but you can't, I haven't figured out how to resubmit or how to
Mm,
like extend an existing one. I had to delete the website and add it again because it scans it when you add it. It doesn't update it. And I didn't see a way to update it. Um and so the second time around, uh I was yelling aloud at the hosts until they got to the end because they were uh yeah but it was very, I found it to be very useful. Yeah.
dude, this is a brilliant marketing approach. Imagine this. I'm stealing Clinton's idea and then a Perry Belcher idea, and I'm going to marry them. Um, Perry Belcher has this brilliant idea with vibe coding where he told everybody that learned vibe coding from him inside of the Ignite Mastermind, which is the best deal in the world, by the way. If you're not in Ignite, I'm not a partner in that. Incidentally, I have no skin in that game, but it's insane what he gives. It's $3,000 a year, and he gives more than most $30,000 masterminds. Like, it's unbelievable. So he teaches everybody in the Ignite Mastermind all these different business models all the time. And one of them that I thought was genius was go find ugly websites, vibe code them, because you can do it with a prompt. Here's a website, make it better. And especially if the prompt is robust, you just pump them out. So you could do 100 websites a day, send people the website that you've made saying, hey, this is a better website than the one that you have. And then just ask them like, well, what would it be worth to you? And any amount of money is more than you probably spent on a per unit cost. What would be cool though is to take what Dylan just said or what Clinton offered and send them the link to the episode and be like, hey, here's a link of your website getting shit talked a little bit. I went ahead and made all these improvements. Like, do you, is this worth whatever it is, $100 a month, and I'll host it and I'll manage it. I think that'd be a great little business. Neil, you've got your hand up.
I do. I'm actually going to be trialing a service I saw promoted on X called Naive, and apparently their whole thing is they're doing some kind of wrapper and building businesses. Uh, you know, like no human businesses is the pitch, which would be great for that. But I haven't tried it yet. It's not the point I wanted to make. At this point, I might have forgotten the point I wanted to make. Oh no! So the takeaway from yesterday. I think the most important thing I heard from John was, the winners, starting now and going into the future are going to be the people who have a story to tell the customer, and as opposed to, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we have this product and it's cheaper than our competitors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there will always be a race to the bottom in some degree or fashion, but as traffic costs, continue to escalate, like we have seen, um, then the ones that can connect through their advertising are going to be the winners.
The race to the bottom, I actually think we finally get to the pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, because I don't feel like agentic tools are going to be as easy to fool. And so the race to the bottom, I think we actually get there. It's like if you're buying a AA battery, I still don't know what's better, Duracell or Energizer. You know what I mean? You Google it and it's like some better for. I think an agent figures it out. Like, oh, this is a flashlight, this is a Duracell, or this is an Xbox controller, this is Energizer. And so I think the race to the bottom of all commodities is met, and that's what causes those deflationary events that Peter Diamandis keeps talking about. And then to the point that Neil's making, everything that isn't an apples to apples commodity, and there are a lot more things that are apples to apples than people like to pretend. I think those are the things that really need to lean hard into story and value prop and all that garbage. And it's not garbage at all, right? It's like the most important part of commerce.
Yeah.
Brandon, you got your hand up? Wait, muted. Come back.
Sorry about that. I wanted to share this company, leadquest.ai, that I came across. This founder, Jeremy, he shared it out, and it's probably one of the slickest AIs that I've ever seen. It's basically like a chat box. Type in what you're looking for as far as the lead, and it will gear up all the people, the name of who you need to talk to, the email address, and you click a button, it will write your email, open up your Gmail account, and it will vary each one. So if you got 100 people on your list, every time you click the button, it's going to write and open up your Gmail account in a different way. So it's not spamming the same message over and over and over. And he's got a choose my own price right now special on that program. So
Dude, I'm
if you're
looking at
looking for,
that. That's insane.
it is, and the guy's super cool. I emailed him a couple of questions and immediately responded. Had his tech guy responding really quick, and just like one of the most amazing uh, tech AIs ever. Right. So I
I'm
mean, you can,
signing up right now.
yeah,
Yeah, this is unreal. This is so brilliant. Dude,
yeah,
anything performance based like this is just so smart.
yeah.
Um, God, dude, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing this. This is the type of stuff this is the daily side for me. This is
Yeah,
what it's like. Oh, dude, check this out.
yeah.
If you're listening to this, let's read out the URL. It's leadquest.ai, spelled
Yeah.
exactly as it sounds. And bro, this is so freaking smart. What a brilliant
You can do
model.
a share screen on it if you want to show how easy it is. Because I mean, it kind of like walks through if you wanted to when you have it pulled up. But like
Yeah, I've
I'll
got it
send my
pulled up now, but
email.
I can't get the freaking 2FA to fire. It's asking me to verify my email, and I'm not getting his
It's
email.
going to send
So
you to
yeah,
get the code.
yeah, the code is not coming, but I'll track it down. It might be in the in
Check
this.
spam. If it's a new domain that and suddenly got a bunch of traffic, then it may be going to spam.
Yeah, nothing yet in spam or in my inbox, but it is cool. Um, have you used it yet, Brandon, or is this just you just ran across it?
No, I ran across it yesterday. Been emailing back and forth because I had the same thing as far as not getting that code fast enough, and then they responded and fired it back. I'll send you his email
Oh, you had
for
that
both
problem
of them.
too.
Yep, I did, and
Oh,
they were working
interesting.
on it. I'm gonna send you
Yeah,
both uh in the email the CEO of the company, Jeremy Redmond, and um and the tech guy, Kevin. They'll give you a fast reply really quick, probably while you're still on the call, and force out the
I got
automation.
my code. I guess he likes me better.
must. Yeah, I think you seem less like a spammer, Jason. Like Jason Croft that sounds dignified. Qasim Aslam, that sounds a little. There's a scam coming. Uh, Oh, air5.com. Okay, this is awesome. Man, this is something else we should always think about is the performance-based business models. The problem is every time I go down this rabbit hole, just from a brainstorming perspective, I always end up with, why don't I just own the business? Like I'm about to start a septic company. Can I show you guys what I bought? Oh my God, check this
Yeah.
out. I'm so excited. Never in my life have I owned real things. All my businesses have always been digital. And so my partner, his name's Bob. Bob tells me, he's like, dude, we got to buy. I don't even know what it's called. Y'all will know. Check this out. Look at that. I don't know if y'all are gonna be see that.
Ditch witch?
What is it?
Is that a ditch witch?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, dude. It was supposed to be like he's like these are normally like $30,000 or $40,000. We got it for like 16 because he found the floor model at some place that was just trying to get rid of it. But we're starting our septic company, and he's got all these little hacks. He goes, most septic companies don't have one of these, and so you send a driver with your $300,000 septic truck who has to sit there with a shovel. Shoveling out the septic pipe in order to do his job. He goes, we don't send our trucks out. We send that thing out, shovels it out, and then when the very expensive piece of equipment is deployed, it's only deployed for septic. Anyway, here's why I bring that up. Because you think to yourself, like, oh, what if I did performance-based leads for septic companies? Once I've gotten that far, just own the septic company. Like anything performance. Somebody challenged me on this. I'd love to talk through that. Because if we did do performance marketing for a business, doesn't matter the business, tax Sherpa, Neil. Like if I came to you and I was like, dude, I can bring you CPA customers, CFO customers, bookkeeping customers. At that point in my mind, I'd rather just own your business because you're never going to pay me what I think it's worth. So there's always going to be that tension. And you're going to think I'm paying for customers and I'm going to think I'm selling leads. So there's always going to be the did you close them? Did you follow up? Did you whatever? And if it was ever good enough, I'd be like, I'd rather just be business partners with you than be a vendor.
Cosm, for you, I would accept that deal, by the way. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the thing about being an entrepreneur and is that we're all, I don't know if it's technically we're all ADD or ADHD or if we just like the shiny object or whatever. But the thing about being an entrepreneur is the building part, and that's why when you get up to that stage where it's like, oh, I gotta fulfill, and I got to do operation, and I got to do, people get bored. And that's why it's so hard to build a successful business, is to get through that boredom part and do it well. And but the AI revolution, for lack of a better word, is unlocking all that operational overload.
Yeah.
And so it does make building 50 businesses possible in a way that wasn't before. So
Yeah. It's sad
so I
because
agree with
I'm
you.
doing it. Dude, it's crazy. I got to the panel that I was on today at Brandon's event. I got to speak with Lior Weinstein, who owns CTO.com, who's like just the smartest human in the world, just great big brain. It reminds me, y'all remember the movie Armageddon? Do you remember in Armageddon? Do you remember when Billy Bob Thornton, somebody's like they're at the conference room table trying to figure out what to do with the meteorites in the very beginning, and there's this English guy sitting in the back with like the little wire frame glasses, and somebody goes, "Who the hell is this?" And Billy Bob goes, "He might be the smartest man on the planet. You should probably listen to him." And then the guy tells the story about the firework. That's Lior. Like Lior has the hardest time communicating with us mere mortals because he's just so he uses all these really beautiful analogies. And then I got to speak alongside Joe Stolte. I'm the dumbest, poorest person on this stage, dude. It was so cool. That's just who you want to be. Joe has had 4 exits, one for $500 million, and Brandon is trying to force an optimistic conversation because he's got an audience there to feed. You know what I mean? And all three of us are just like, nope, like. And it was to the point that Neil's making, I think, marshaling towards that point anyway. I'm actually very optimistic about life for me. And more to the point, for y'all on this call. But for like my postman or my landscaper or the 1,000 people in the audience, and that was one of the questions. Like and I didn't say this because I'm not a total douchebag, but we'd had a Q&A part of the talk, and one of the people goes, we're at a real estate investing conference, okay? And one of the people goes, "How would you use AI to decide what to invest in? I can't figure out what to invest in." And I'm like, dude, go home. Go home and wait for universal basic income. If you're a real estate investor and you're sitting here telling me my problem is there's so much I want to invest in and I don't have enough money. So I just feel like there's just, I hate to be such a YouTuber right now, but dude, there's two types of people. There are types of people that see this opportunity and are so overwhelmed on a daily basis and just kid in a candy store, can't do enough. And then there's people who are like, what do we do with this? And the what do we do with this people are used to the other type of people selling the education to teach them because there was no way to execute on all of it. And now all of us are like, why would I sell the education? Like, why wouldn't I just do it? I'd love to be challenged on that. Dylan.
I would not be trying as many things as I am if I was not attending these calls. So I think that you may be underestimating the
No, but you're doing it, dude.
effect, and that like when Kai shares and when Jacob shares, and I'm like, I want to have a cooler thing than them next time, and I want to actually do things and not just talk about the egregious amount of YouTube that I consume, and so yeah, I think that it like we had talked about how like exposure is kind of the only way we can think of to practice this, and
Yeah.
so there are a lot of people that are just like have no idea how to apply it, and I think that's normal. Like we are having difficulty applying it in some areas, and we're like making a concerted effort to do so. So yeah, yeah, compliment on the calls.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think really what that means is you owe me equity in everything that you build. Like there's a little slice that should have Qasim's name on it. I'm joking. I really appreciate it, dude. I love that you show up. I love that you take action. Those are my favorite people in the whole wide world. Are people that actually like put pen to page and show up. And the worse it is when they present, the more I love them. You know what I mean? Like if you show me an ugly baby, like God, do I love that baby? Like I love ugly babies better than pretty babies because ugly babies are like, like that means you're actually doing it the right way. So thanks a lot, man. I'm so glad that you're here. And I love that, dude, you bring so much value. You're always the first one to talk. You always have something fun to say. I've learned a bunch of shit from you and all the stuff that you bring up. So I appreciate you. Jacob, you got your hand up?
Yeah, can I just add to that real quick and just say, I think you want to run fast, run with fast runners type of thing, And
Go
so
to
being in
Kenya.
these calls, Yeah, exactly. Being in these calls is really powerful because you're around a lot more, smart people, and you're not just around them, but you're also like challenged, socially by like what Dylan is saying. When somebody else does something, you're like, oh, now I want to do something. But also, what, let me see, who said it a minute ago? Sorry, I was just got done driving, and I think it might have been, who said about the email thing a minute ago with the AI email thing that rephrases it?
Brandon.
Brandon, sorry, I was driving.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
heard.
and Jeremy Redmond, the owner, just popped on from the company because I told him your code wasn't working. I
No
invited him
shit.
into your
What up,
group.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
This
crazy,
is the
man.
most attentive customer service I've ever received.
Yeah.
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 Look at
This is it right here, dude. I'm
Yeah, dude,
looking
we were
here.
just talking about your site. I had it pulled
Hold
up.
on,
Brandon told me about it.
I'm trying to
Yep. We're
increase the
trying to get you
volume here.
that
Turn
code.
up
And I was
volume.
like, hop on
There we
here.
go. I hear you.
Hey,
All right.
I see
bro,
codes coming in, going out.
look what you built. Tell us about this. This is badass.
Dude, I'm trying, like, I was a broke ass entrepreneur, you know?
Yeah.
Like, in leads, dude, they're all the same, I feel like, everywhere. Okay. And like, we
Wait,
have,
unpack that for me a little bit. What do you mean by that? Like lead quality is the same, people trying to build leads the same. What does that mean?
you can spend $500 a month on Apollo and all these other places and $600 a month on Zoom Info, and they'll lock you into a 3-year agreement. And more or
Yeah.
less, 20%, 30% will all bounce. You know,
Hmm.
it's like you'll still run into the same problems constantly. I
Yeah.
wanted to take, I guess I'm more or less losing money on the choose your own price thing, but I made money, right? So it's like this was my experiment on helping people as much as I could bring down the cost of these lead gen services. So
Mm.
we kind of built this. The company I built before this was Task Magic, and it was like an AI automator where
Well,
we.
hold on. Wait. I think I've used Task Magic.
Oh, look at that. See?
That was you?
Yeah, that was me. I built that.
Bro, you're awesome. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not lying to you. I'm gonna go to my inbox because Task Magic
Thank you.
sounds so familiar to me. I want to ask you a question. I want to
Yeah.
challenge your business model. Not I think it's brilliant, by the way. I complimented you, watched the recording. I was like, this is awesome. This guy's brilliant. And here's the arithmetic I've done in my head every time I've ever done anything performance based. So
Yeah.
the pay for lead, for example. I was just talking to Neil, who's on this call about it. Neil's one of the smartest financial minds in the world. Freaking brilliant guy. He's got his own community teaching people like all the things that they should know about tax and they don't. And so I think like, well, let me go bring CFO clients or bookkeeping clients or CPA clients to Neil. But if I get good enough at doing that and I really think it all the way through, I don't want to work with a client. I want to have a business partner. Like I want to own part of that company because if you own the traffic, you own the business as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Like, so why would you, and maybe this is a Trojan horse that I shouldn't be letting the cat out of the bag, but why would you bring me all the, like, hand me the shovel and the gold rush when you know where the gold is? Like, why wouldn't you just mine for this gold yourself?
Because I have this gold here, and that's enough for me. Okay.
Yeah.
The
So you're
big
satiated.
the big idea. So I sold Task Magic for millions. So I just exited this 4 months ago.
Oh, cool.
I've made money. So that's that. The second thing was like, how do I make impact? And the one way I do that is I can either give something away for free, but people don't ascribe a value to it. They won't
Mhm.
use it. We actually started out this business model like it was a completely free model. Completely free. People could go in, search, take the data, whatever they wanted for free. We just rate limited them. And no one fucking used it.
Wow.
No one used it. And then I was like, I don't know how to price this because my mission is getting people as cheap leads and communication as possible. And I had a goal originally to just scale my next thing to 1 million users. That's all I wanted to do. That was my number one thing. And turns out people don't value free. They don't trust free, whatever it is. And I was like, okay, well, I really want to make it cheap. Well, how cheap? And I was like, well, let people decide. So as long as they're paying something, we can keep up with everything on the back end. and I still get as much reach as possible because you're right. The big thing for me is the reach, growing the community out of this, growing the sales pipeline out of this. This is just that one thing I could build as fast as possible, and then I could give as much value so that maybe one day I can be a New York Times bestselling author through the audience.
Hmm. What are people putting in the choose your own price? Like, what are you seeing as the average?
Yeah, so which this is funny. So the very first day we ever made choose your own price, it is the same product if you put 14 as if you put 400.
And
It
that's
is.
it's just to define terms here too. A lead is name, email, phone number, or name, email.
It depends on what's in there. So
Yeah.
for some leads, if you want to do your search after you pay whatever and you go in, you'll see all the ones that have emails. A lot of them have emails. I think on our original database, we had over like 140 million verified. And then maybe 50 million of those had verified emails. And then we plugged in and built like a API to like scrape Google Maps. So you'll see in there that you have like a local search.
Mm,
And what that does is essentially takes all local searches from like Google Places and then runs a script that finds their contact information from those businesses. And I was like, well, what would I pay for that? And I'm like, I'd pay 20, 30 bucks to someone on Fiverr to scrape me those and go find those. And I'm like, well, we can do that and I can deliver
yeah.
that value. So there's like a regular web piece, there's a local piece, and then there's a web intent piece, which is like you can search people who need a website. And then it searches that web intent for people who have talked on like X, Reddit, LinkedIn, on people who like need a website like in that area.
Yeah, so I have a staffing agency called Pareto Talent. We staff high-end executive assistants with overwhelmed entrepreneurs. And we've been doing the
Nice.
social listening thing where anybody who complains about their assistant,
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
a sudden my sales guy slides in their DMs. But we're not doing it well. And people get like really creeped out. You know what I mean? They're like, I was complaining.
Yeah.
It's like the girl that goes dancing because she's mad at her boyfriend. Like you can't hit on her, you know? And that's basically what we're doing. So I'd be curious. Like I want to play CAs. I've got an average LTV of $12,000, just under 93% retention rate. My current CAC is, I don't know what, paid is probably around $1,200. So
Oh,
I'd give
wow.
you my same CAC because I can't scale at that CAC. I'd love for it to be less, but what would you do? Like you're talking to me, I'm placing with 7-figure entrepreneurs. I'm super expensive. I'm charging $3,000 a month for an EA where you can get one for $1,200 a month. So I need people who want quality, not, whatever. God bless those people too. They're all beautiful miracles and they're going to heaven. But people that actually execute on real work.
I hear that. So the question is how would I sell it to you? Like
Or how would I use your product to find those leads? Like what's the filtration mechanism, the buyer intent? Like, do you have that in the tool?
Yes, we do. So all you have to do is go search for that intent. Like if you go search right now and you put the intent toggle on and you put people who don't like whatever competitor that you have. So like if there's a competitor.
My biggest competitor is Athena. And they're great, dude.
Oh,
Like, I
that
actually
Athena,
really respect them.
yeah, one of my
Athena
investors
EAs.
invested in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They did a great job, but they scaled so big so fast. It's the same thing happens, it kind of watered down the soup a little. And there's still a lot of respect for them and not bashing them at all. I can't get into your thingamabob. Every time I fill out this form, it tells me it's sent a code, but I'm not getting the code. Other people are.
So this is what I was in here. I was in live. I actually made you a Loom video.
Nice.
And you were like, here, join this. And right when I got it, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just go in there.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, dude.
Because I know Jacob has questions for you too after you're done.
I got a bunch I got opened. So what is the email you're using? Do you feel comfortable using that on here?
I'm gonna chat it at you because I don't want all these jokers on YouTube sending me their
is this being live streamed to YouTube?
This is live streamed everywhere.
By the way, I have no idea what I got into.
This is a cult.
That's what you're looking for, by the way.
Yeah.
You build anything, you want a cult. So
And
cult
by just
isn't a
being
bad
on here,
thing.
you've agreed to
That's right.
all the
You
terms and
locked it
conditions.
in. Yeah.
To slit.
Yeah.
Here's your
That's right. I
firstborn
just sent you
child.
my email, Jeremy. You've got it via chat and
Okay.
Zoom here. While you're looking for that, we interrupted Jacob. He was right in the middle of what I imagine was a beautiful soliloquy, and then we stole
Sorry,
the mic
Jacob.
from him. No, you're good. Jacob, what
No,
were you
don't
saying?
apologize. I think what initiated was perfect. I actually really enjoyed listening to that. That was
Oh, thanks, man.
that
I
was really
appreciate that.
cool. Yeah, I actually kind of lost my train of thought because I got so much value from what y'all were saying. So I'll have to come back to it. I know
I
I was
honestly
when I
feel
was
like a jerk.
no.
I feel like I
Trust me, I
interrupted.
learned trust me, I learned way more
Okay.
when I listen than when I talk. So it's perfect for me to listen to that. I can't remember. So but there was another question I had. I know it's funny Wednesday. I was at the airport and Dylan made this beautiful analogy about like Iron Man and these suits and stuff like that. And then I came in there like the old guy from Waterboy and I was just blah, 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 blah. Made absolutely no sense. And it was entirely, embarrassing. But, last year I was diagnosed with a rare neuro condition that I just like hit brain fog so hard so I can't even think. So when that happens, I just can't talk. But my question is, Costa, we've talked a little bit about like using IDEs. Can y'all hear me okay, by the way? There's like a weird echo in here for me.
I got you.
Yeah, I want to dig
Good.
into that. Keep going. Using IEEs, what is that?
No, IDE. So like VS Code, Cursor, anti-gravity, stuff like that. I've mentioned that
Integrated
before.
development environment. Sorry, Jacob.
Thank you,
Integrated
Dylan.
Yeah,
development
thank you, dude. He
environment.
knows, dude, he
Dylan's
knows
saving me from
everything. It's
having to Google it.
crazy. He's ready to roll, man. Yeah. So I mentioned those before, and it seems like there's some pushback as far as it might be that those programs might be overwhelming to most people because and Dylan will probably back me on this too because you have like things like base 44, bolts, lovable. You go to a chat, you can punch in what you want, and then it'll give you the output. Everything's bundled in there. Your payment process, your authentication, everything's. But with an IDE like VS Code or Cursor, you can use AI to code like Cursor and Claude Code and stuff like that. But it's pretty daunting, because you have to connect everything for there. But I have found that IDEs are the best way to build your projects for training or guiding your AI system. So like I've used Claude with my projects where the Claude is very educated on everything. Like I've got instructions step by step and it uses little tokens and the output is insane because when I bounce back over to just using normal Claude, day and night difference. But it seems like I should make a program that is for creating these projects that is not so, I mean, like if you could just go to like a lovable type thing and build like a business project with all your folders, with all your brand voice, your logos, your colors. I mean, just literally everything. You could do it in something like that a lot simpler. So I was just wondering, I mean, because you've talked about using Cursor before and you have it. What's the reason why you haven't used it?
To be honest with you, I went down the rabbit hole of all of those tools when we built VC Inc. And at the time, which was, I could probably tell you because I've got all my notes, I wasn't getting the output I wanted. Like it just didn't feel functional. And it's probably me, not anything else. Because, dude, I can't make things work. Like it's just not my skill set.
It's too complicated. Well, it's one of those things where you have to be skillful in that to make it work, and that takes time, and it's not worth your time to do that. So you would just hire somebody else who knew how to do that for you. And so that
Well,
sounds like
that's a kind way for you to contextualize it, Jacob. I appreciate that very much. I'm actually trying to pull up my cursor right now so I can show you. Like, I'd be curious where I even left off. Like, you can see whatever dude, I haven't. This is going to be so embarrassing because I have not been in here since the last time I was in here. But I'm like, I don't even know what the last thing I tried or how I tried
Cursor is downloaded on your desktop, so that's just your settings.
it. Okay,
I don't know
then
if
I
I
don't.
would go
Yeah,
through that.
I'm
I
not.
would go through
I'm
that on the live
traveling.
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I appreciate you, dude. I don't know. I don't remember it. I don't remember using it. I don't even remember why I fired it up. I remember we were doing the vibe coding incubator and there was a list of software that Nuno was like, hey, everybody has to go and play with all of this. And all that stuff overwhelms me. And yeah, I just get like,
Well, this sounds like a lot
there
of
needs to be a
friction.
name for it. There's this iterative fatigue that happens with AI and it actually feels like progress, and then it feels like a death, like a little intellectual death, to where I'm like, I'm building something, and then at some point, right before it crescendos, this thing happens that's just catastrophically damaging to what I'm building, and then I can't bring it back. And the easiest analogy to that is just image generation. Like, I remember I have an obsession with the King Arthur story for all these reasons that we can get into one day. And I was trying to generate an image of the sword and the stone. And it was getting so good and so good and so good and so good. And then it went off the rails, and like the shadow was being cast on the wrong side. And then when it trying to fix it, every iteration made it worse.
Yeah.
And I have that experience with basically every AI conversation I have. But then I go and I have these people that work with me that like can just do it. So I like knowing how the tools, like what they're capable of. So it helps me like world build, but I'm not adept enough. I don't know what it is or why I screw it up.
I guess what I was
So
saying, I was reading a statistic last night and I don't remember the numbers, and I can't share it with you guys. I'm gonna have to get better at sharing this stuff with you guys, but it was like something like 77% of businesses wish that there was easier to use AI tools, because it does take a certain amount of knowledge to use them. It's not like a point and say, hey, go do this for me, because you have to, it has barriers, it has limitations, it has, just a general intuitive knowledge of how to use the tools. It's a tool. It's not, a person, so it can't figure itself out at this time. It's not a AGI, So I'm really curious because what it is, it just sounds like friction, because my AIs are so smart to where I can tell it to write an email and it will write it exactly how I will write it. Not generic, not I'll have to change it, not I'll have to tinker with it, nothing. It's literally exactly how I would write it because I've trained it to be like that. And so, but I do that, and I do that in Cursor. But again, it's an IDE. It could be VS Code. It could be anti-gravity. It's just basically a project where you're working. But again, I've just set instruction manuals. I'm still iterating and building these out to where they're more complex. But it's extremely smart. I mean, it's so incredibly smart because I just again create those simple guides for it to work through. So
Dude,
I'm just curious, Dylan, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, Dylan, your hands up.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
Dylan's like, let's go.
All right. First, Jacob, I did not think anything of what you said on Wednesday. Like, I did not notice anything wrong with it. And I think normally when you say things, they're very intelligent. And then you said about these meetings are socially challenging as like a part of the benefit. My heart is beating out of my chest the entire time. And then like last night I got off and I couldn't sleep. Like I was like on adrenaline. Yeah, IDEs are incredibly simple, and I would be happy to demonstrate. Whenever I'm forced to use the chat interface, I feel, in the Flintstones, like when they do something and there's a dinosaur on the other side of the wall, just like performing the action. That's what I feel like whenever I am using the chat interface.
So good.
So this is a subtle flex. Last night, Claude Code downloaded a Chinese AI model. I downloaded a data set. It converted the data set into a format that the Chinese model can use, and it is currently in hour 8 of training on my desktop, and that's why I'm using my laptop. And all I did was when I woke up this morning, it had stopped and I said continue, and it set up, because there's 2 models to train. It's like a system. The first one finished and then it never started the second one. The first one was like 6 hours and the second one's 30. It's on Epoch 162 out of 1,000 right now. But that's like that superpower thing I've been talking about. Like, it's unbelievable. If you're not using Claude Code and Codex, you are really missing out. And it's not just for coding. It's just a way, like, you use Claude Cowork. Imagine Claude Cowork, but you can see your files.
Yeah.
That's an IDE.
Well, so this is where I was going with it, to be specific. Let's say like Qasim has a lot of businesses to run, right? So he doesn't really have time to learn how to use a tool because he's got so many people to manage and so many things to do. He's like an orchestrator, right? So somebody like that, and you say you could show him how to use VS Code, and I believe you could, but let's say it's so simple that you don't have to be showed how to use it. Like Base 44, you don't have to be showed how to use that program. You
Base
just go
44 is
into
what
it,
my son uses. That's what he makes his video games out of, and he just
but you
talks
wouldn't
to
have
it.
to be taught how to use that program.
Right.
If I gave you Bolt right now or Base 44, any of those chat to code generation programs, you wouldn't have to be taught. And when you don't have to teach somebody, you remove friction, and removing friction is what is revolutionary, right? Like when you make things simpler. It's like people are saying, how smart is a baby that can use an iPad? No, how smart is a person who could use an iPad to make something that a baby could use, right? Like one of
Mm.
those things. And so I guess
Well, and that's
it
the
sounds
promise,
like,
right? Like the promise of AI is someday it doesn't require that that what would you call it? The conjugation. There's like an intellectual conjugation that takes place when you learn to communicate with something. And to the point that you're making, the iPad is so good that it's so intuitive. It just connects instantly. And I think AI is going to get there someday. And once that promise is fulfilled upon, like the world is our oyster. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jacob, but I think it's a really, really cogent point.
yeah, I think in business, and I want to say real quick too, Dylan, you're super smart. And so what is common sense to you is probably like high knowledge to the average person. And so it's sometimes hard to think in yourself. I'm not saying that we're smarter or better or anything, none of that stuff, but the average person, I call it, they just want to watch the game. I just want to watch the game syndrome. Basically, I want to go to work, I want to go home, and I want to be left alone. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to have to learn stuff. I don't want to do stuff. I just want it handed to me because I've worked all day and I'm tired. I just want to watch the game. But most of us are not like that. But the average person, I think, is. And so when you're selling products to the average person, you got to think like as simple as possible. But I know in business, you only have an advantage temporarily. Like every advantage you have is a
Mm.
temporary advantage. And that is where you got to keep riding the front of the wave for surfing, because if you get behind it, the wave goes away and you're just sitting on your board waiting for the next wave. And so, yeah, I just wanted to really just kick that out there to see. It just sounds like there's a lot of friction. Like I need to make a program that you can just talk to, and it can make a business project for you that Claude Code can come into via the API or something like that. And I could just run token usage like Volt, and it just builds AIs that are trained. They're not really trained. They're more like manuals that Claude Code just hits and goes through and then does the output based off of that. Because what I've built is very powerful, and it's based off of Nate Hurt stuff. I've just kept iterating and figuring out stuff myself. So yeah, well, we can move on. Cosmos, I'll show you my toy too. I was doing some commercial video, and I was like, oh, dude, he's probably, had one of these before back in the day. So it's pretty cool.
Back in
And
the
what you
day,
had, you're not
go
that
ahead.
old. You're not, but I've bought some old stuff from Scottsdale Film School too, from like auctions and stuff, like old equipment, and so it's pretty cool. Um, the piece of equipment you had earlier is just called an excavator, or some people call it a backhoe, but usually backhoes have like a bucket on the front. But it's pretty cool that you have one. My brother's father-in-law, he had one last. I walked in the barn and I saw it. I was like, why does he have this thing? And he's like, oh, he just has it. So
That's so funny, dude. That little rig you got there is awesome. I'm trying to remember the thing. I maxed out my credit cards. That was the first time I went broke in 2008. I wanted to make a
FS5,
movie.
FS3 or something.
It was a Panasonic DVX 100A.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
And I
that.
bought it
Yeah.
because it shot 24p, and I thought like, oh, it has to look like real film, like, oh, because my movie's gonna be so good, and it wasn't. And then I regretted all the money that I spent. But yeah, dude,
They
that's
usually never
good.
are. I know I've done so many student films and they're usually never good. They're just training. It's just
Yeah.
practice. It's just, beating your head against the wall until finally one day you get to work with enough people who are all amazing and you get lucky and it all comes together. So, but anyway, so to iterate on that, so I don't lose track here and we make momentum with it. VS Code and those things are daunting, right? Yes. Just to
To me, they
gauge.
are. Yeah, not to Dylan.
What about everybody else here? Is it daunting to like open up VS Code or Cursor or something like that? You're like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. And I don't know how to switch my camera around to see everybody, but yeah. Okay. I'll work on something because I'm still working on that third brain thing too. That's a little bit more actually complicated because you have to figure out how to route to your inboxes and all your sources, the RSS feeds and stuff. So, but that's a big one too.
I'd love to see it. I did. So a couple notes. Grant is teaching us Notebook LM next Thursday. Did I get that right, dude?
Wednesday, I think.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody on the council, I'd love it if y'all taught whatever you wanted to teach. Shoot me a message with something if you're like, dude, I'm really passionate about this and I think it'd be really valuable. We'd have to calibrate a little bit. The only ask is there's no pitch. And obviously there's a pitch inherent to any expertise, because if you're really smart, people are going to reach out to you and want to work with you. But I don't want people to feel like they're coming every day and like getting just railed with by my shit. So as long as there's no like overt pitch, I'd love to just host whatever knowledge we can. If you're watching this live, I think the same thing goes for you. Go join my free forever community. Go to dailysigh.ai. And then in the community, hit me up in the messenger. Tell me what you want to teach. Dylan, I'd love if you would teach what you just said when you're like, if you're not using Claude Code and whatever else it was that you said, dude, I want to, because I know I'm not doing that and I don't want to be left behind. So I would love it if you would pick a day, any day, assuming you're willing. And I'm not trying to pressure you or put you on the spot, even though that's basically what I just did. And pick a weekday that's not already occupied, dude, and we'll tee you up to teach.
Cosm, you're really pressuring me. I'm feeling uncomfortable.
I figured as much. This is what I do, dude. This is how I've gotten to where I am, is by making people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I started using Visual Studio in 2012, so I am not a particularly good person to ask whether it is confusing or not. I started using it when it was like $1,400, and now it's free. I got it for free from school. Cursor and VS Code are the same thing. I don't know if you realize that. VS Code is an open source project. Cursor is a fork of VS Code. And also,
it always pisses me off that they do that when they take open source projects and then they make them proprietary and build for them. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not allowed to. Doesn't that run counter to the entire thesis of open source?
No, I mean it's an open source project made by Microsoft, so you're a big fan of theirs. I would imagine.
I love Microsoft. This is what an intuitive, phenomenal tech stack they've built. It just makes sense and connects no matter what happens. Everything works. It's great.
Also, Cursor saves all of your responses and adds them to a data set that they use to train their own AI. It is called Distilling, and it's pretty sweet. Cursor, or not Cursor, Anthropic, it gets very unhappy about people distilling their model, particularly people in China. And recently, in the Claude Code source code leak, they found that if Claude Code thinks you are distilling, it will put fake information into its reasoning. Like, it won't give you a bad response. It will put erroneous tool calls into the reasoning process, because the reasoning process is the secret sauce. I don't know if whenever it says like its thought process, that's not its thought process. They like they process that and summarize it so that in particular cannot be. I have not used Zeet, Grant. I actually haven't heard of it. But yeah, and I think also if you just focus on like Claude Code and Codex and kind of find because there's different tools that use them. They're both command line programs, which is not normal for anybody to use, even most programmers. But there are, if you're on Linux or Mac, there's an open source project called T3 Chat that is a chat interface for Claude Code and Codex. There's a extension in VS Code that allows you to use it as if it's just like a chat, but with some additional options and things. But yeah, I wouldn't. VS Code is free. You can download it and just decide for yourself. I think it's very simple. And you just like open it. I mean, you treat it like you would Cowork. If you've used Cowork, I think that you know enough to use VS Code. You open it on a folder, like a project folder, and then you type init and init, and Claude makes the Claude MD and does whatever, and then you put your folders in. Those are your pieces of your Iron Man suit. Yeah, I had a train of thought when I started. I'm not entirely sure where it went.
Can I jump in and say something real quick? It's not hard to learn. That's crazy that you've been using that since 2012. And yeah, Dylan, you're like an actual legitimate coder. I would consider myself more of an imposter. I was hospitalized last year and was bedridden 8 weeks straight, and I literally just started using it. I had my friend use a C stand and mount a monitor with my PC by my bed so I could just be on the PC. And I started learning this stuff, and it doesn't take long, but it is a lot. It's more thing, it's more effort. And what helps with effort is when you have enthusiasm and you actually want to do it. But if you don't have that, you'll never do something. If you don't want to go to the gym, you probably never will. And so there's just a lot of friction there. But I will give you an example of how powerful this is. When I build these folders out, think about it, Cosmo, like you had like a Bible of everything in your business, how you spoke, what you said, what your colors were. Because when you go to do something for your business, you have to remember this stuff. Like, okay, it needs to sound like this, it needs to look like that, I need to write this way. But if you had a Bible that of everything in your business and AI just came to it and then just went in and then gave you the output out, it would be incredible. And that's what I've been working on, is building that. And I'll give you an example. When I was running Claude code, which is what I've been doing, or just Claude, it'll ping the manual, it'll go through it, and it'll give me output. Well, last night I accidentally went into the cursor chat and I started talking to it just because I was super tired and I was just out of it. And it literally said, wait, you can't do that, because it went to the hyper focus thing. It was like, you need to be focusing on this, just as if I had said it to Claude. So they're essentially the same things. But again, you want AI to be like the coffee runner when it comes to, it's like, how can I help you today, sir? Okay, here, I want you to go get me this coffee, right? Okay, can do. They go get the coffee, they bring it back. But with a business, we'll have AI come to us and be like, hey, I want you to build me this for my business. And Claude's like, okay, I'll go do it. You know, you've probably heard it with like OpenAI, where it's like, sure thing, I can do that, no problem. And it's terrible. It's awful. And you have to reiterate it 1,000 times yourself. But if you could hand a manual to AI, it's like, hey, I want you to go do this, but here's how you do it step by step. And it's funny because AI helps you build the manual itself. Like it's like the assistant who's helping you build it as you build it and do all the legwork. And then you have this manual, like, okay, I want you to go do this. And you hand the manual to it and it goes and flips through it. And like, okay, here's how I do it. It does it. And it comes back and says, here's the output. Just like that. Boom. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts.
I've been doing a lot of that. Not nearly the way that you guys are doing it feels, or sounds at least to me, as though it's automated. It's, it's like the whatever AI tools that you're building have a repository, know how to reference the repository, and have a decision engine as to when to use those resources. I don't have any of that. What I have created, though, I'm obsessed right now with first principles. It's what I'm teaching tomorrow. I have an event here in Austin. I've got 20 people coming, and I just want to test this thesis of mine, because I think that first principles thinking is the natural prerequisite to really using these tools, and then allowing for the expansion of the tools in a way that ensures you maintain control. And so what I've done is I've created all these first principles documents. So for example, I gave you all the document on persuasion, which was so good. Like it was so, and it wasn't, I didn't make it good. Like I just talked to AI a lot, and I talked to Gemini, and I talked to Chat, and I talked to Claude, and then I made them fight with each other. And then I went through line by line and decided what I agreed with and what I didn't and why. And then I ended up with this really badass document on persuasion. And now, anytime I want to, and I think this is what you're saying, Jacob, if I want to write a landing page or write an ad or write a script or talk to my kids about eating vegetables, I have this first principles document on persuasion that I get to load up. And that constraint, those guardrails, dude, my outputs, because when I ask it, like, hey, help me talk my 10-year-old into eating vegetables, doesn't matter the AI tool. The output is always like the aggregate sum of everything that's already kind of available. And it's just good enough. It's just passable. But when I load up first principles documents, let's say I would do, what would it be? It would like be persuasion, communicating with a 10-year-old boy. And I don't know what the first principles from a motivation perspective, let's say, and there'd probably be more than that, right? But like I'd put those three in, and then I'd say, talk to my, and really then what I could do is I could actually have first principles documents on my children, because my 10-year-old and my 8-year-old are very, very different. Like I've got the nicest, sweetest, kindest, most empathic little cherub in the whole wide world, who's tizzy as all get out. and wants to be a scientist, and then I've got a wrecking ball of demon hellfire bent on death and destruction. And so like those two kids eat vegetables in a very different way. So I have my first principle document on me, and then when I say help me convince my kids to eat vegetables, like the output is 100,000 times better. And I think those constraints live outside of AI, and because AI it's the aggregate average of all of humanity's information. Us coming in and saying, no, this is how I want and need you to think. And there's no really, if you want to talk philosophically, there's no such thing as first principles, because they're so contextually influenced. It's like if and I don't want to use the example I was about to use, but if you have a theological commitment and I have a theological commitment and they're different, we have very different first principles. So I love what you're saying, dude, because I think that's the unlock. And I haven't figured out how to do it in a robust, automated way. I've figured out how to do it in a dummy way, but it has been a major needle mover for me. Neil, you've got your hand up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
You shared first principle, right? In a drive? Was it drive or was it notebook LM?
No, I don't know how to use notebook the way that I need.
Yeah.
Grant can go through and bro, I'll give you all my first principles documents are like nuts. Do you want to see?
If you can share that again. And have you tried doing like listening to like Landon and the conversations with the 4-year-old? Excuse me, Daddy. You seen those on Facebook? Yeah, you gotta watch those. Yeah, conversations with the 4-year-old. This guy Landon on Facebook. He's like an actor, and he does these back and forth with. He acts like his 4-year-old son. It's hilarious.
That's so funny. I will go check those out. This is my first principles repository. And because I'm focused on YouTube right now, a lot of this is YouTube based, but I've got like first principles on thumbnails, which that's not really a first principle. A thumbnail is not a first principle, right? Like imagery is a first principle, or evocative, like compression, titles and language. This is the best one that I've built personally. This is my imagery and compression first principles document. And it all it did is I just talked to AI about what imagery is. Imagery is a compression engine. And it's like, oh God, that makes sense. And then, so I was able to identify the 15 images that are as looked at through the lens of emotional stimulus. So what are the most emotionally evocative image categories? And then what are the schema systems from an imagery perspective? Because a lot of images follow a schema, which is very Carl Jung. And then what are the symbol systems, which all of us follow symbol systems without even knowing it. And then I created a first principles document on a per category basis. And each of these outputs isn't one query, it's multiple queries all compiled. But now when I take this document and I put it into Claude and I say, hey, help me come up with a thumbnail for this video, my output is insane, y'all. I just gifted that to everybody here on this call. And I've got a bunch of them. And so like these first principles documents, most people are taking 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to create AI driven output. I'll take 8, 9, 10, 11 hours to create my first principles doc. But then every thumbnail I create, I think, is so much better than anything else anybody else's AI creates. And then I give that to my entire team. And I'm trying to instill first principle thinking in my team. But I've not been very successful with that. Neil, you got your hand up?
I do. Two things. So for those of you who have not seen Qasim give a real prepared speech, I was in a room where Qasim went over the imagery first principles like through the whole thing. And it was in a room full of high-level entrepreneurs, and everybody was just like floored. So I mean it's worth looking into. The thing you were saying, Qasim, about the the AI being the aggregate of everything. I think that is actually literally the context to keep in mind, where it's like, so all the different AI systems have already run out of data as far as human generated output, right? The entire internet has been scanned, the entire corpus of whatever language, books and things that we have available have been scanned. And the, token by token or syllable by syllable, however you want to think of it, the semantic relationships have been mapped. That's the LLM revolution, right? And so, because everything is there already, it embodied in whatever you're chatting with, then you don't have to add anything. Everything's already there. You just have to take away. And the way I think about it is like, the old quote, or I don't know if it's apocryphal or not, but when Michelangelo said, somebody asked him about how do you get the statue out of the marble? It's like, well, the statue's already there. I just have to remove, what's
Take it
not
away.
essential. So that's the way I approach AI. And Kasim, I don't know if you've shown anybody or if you've seen Chris Mercer's stuff on how he uh, interprets things. It's
Mind blowing.
I
Yeah,
use
I
it
should get
like
Mercer on a
daily.
call.
I mean,
Yeah, is
he's
it?
insane, but in a good way.
He's insane. Yeah, he's insane. Is there a way? How would you feel comfortable, Neil, even attempting to summarize Mercer's thesis? Because I'll do my best, and then maybe we'll play tennis a little. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Mercer prompts AI from an emotional output perspective. So he'll ask his tools instead of like, write me a blog on whatever. He goes, I want you to experience the feeling of having satiated your fear that's tied to existential crises in a way that's resolute and he describes he's it's so emotional, it's so emotion driven, which is weird because Mercer is the smartest measurement guy in the whole wide world, right? He started measurement marketing, teaches measurement, and he's talking like so like right brained, like very, and then it builds shit and you're like, how did he even know to do, you know what I mean? Like is that what you're talking about, and is that what you experienced too?
that is what I've experienced. I approach it from a slightly different interpretation of what he's doing, where because he and I agree on the fact that the whole semantic content is already encoded in the LLMs.
Yeah.
The fact that all of human experience can be summarized as a series of vectors with numbers is possibly terrifying, but it is what it is. Uh, so, uh, so knowing that, what he's trying to pull out is the end experience. It's like, yes, you know everything. You're an all-knowing box, right? So I'm trying to get to this place at the end, whether it's emotional or an output state or whatever. Um, Help me get there. And I don't care what happens in between because you already know everything. So just give me the thing I want.
Mm.
And he has this it's a self-referential loop using a structured language approach. And there's a couple different versions of this. Mercer's version is kind of XML looking, and there's
Yeah, he's got a lot of tags, which I guess
yeah,
Claude specifically is predisposed for XML tagging. Like you can
yeah,
create your own, it just follows it. It like captures it.
yeah. Oh, Christine apparently has talked to Mercer. It's great.
Yeah. So
Um,
y'all, Christine Marie, if you haven't tuned into her show, it's amazing. She's interviewed some of the greatest people in the whole wide world. And I'm sure her episode with Mariah, I haven't seen that one, but I'm sure it's great. Christine, if you want to drop that in the chat, please do.
I did a 4-hour YouTube recording with Mercer a couple months ago. He said he was going to post it, but I haven't seen it. So I don't know if he ever got around to editing the 4 hours down to whatever it was.
That's funny. I'm going to pause real quick because I've been super rude. I want to apologize to Dave. Dave, this is your first time here, right?
No, I've listened on Instagram a couple times.
Okay. But your
Yeah.
first time in the Zoom.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. Can you tell us who you are and why you're here and what you do and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, I've been part of Ignite for actually quite a while. Have two main companies, one called Best Response Marketing that, in fact, I'm looking at my trademarks, it just came through, but we have a thing called Dave Bot, where
Nice.
obviously we do voice and chat and using the GHL thing. But lately I've been getting into Claude Code and then also OpenClaw. We're looking at, I'm actually in the process of setting that up right now um, to create agents to do, specific tasks, sort of like what you guys have been talking about on here. So this was perfect timing. But
Nice.
yeah, yeah. And I'll probably see you in New Orleans in a week. I'm going down for
Oh, are you going to Driven?
Driven just for this one. Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. That's going to get batshit insane.
yeah.
We're,
It
we're
should be
bringing,
good.
yeah. Well, I won't tell anybody what you do for those beads, but it's going to get, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you
Yeah,
showing up.
looking
Thanks for
forward to it.
joining the Zoom. If you're watching the live, you can do what Dave did and you can go join the Zoom. Just go to dailysigh.ai. And then David Carreno, whose name I just mispronounced, I know you've been here before, but I don't think we've asked you to introduce yourself yet, right?
Yeah, I was no, not yet. I was here. Yes, was it yesterday for John?
Yeah, for John
Yeah.
Morin's 3 hour marathon.
My goodness, I had to leave, but I didn't want to.
Yeah,
He's amazing. But yeah,
I love him to death, dude. Who are you? Tell us about yourself. What do you do? Why are you here?
yeah, I've followed you for quite a while on and off. I do paid social. I'm a director of paid social at a startup. So
Nice.
yeah, that's what I do.
That's awesome, brother. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to tee up Dylan. And Dylan, I think these will be the last words of the night because I'm going to go get ready for my event tomorrow. So no pressure again. Put a lot of pressure on you today.
I was going to ask Neil for clarification. So if I'm the last
That's
word,
great. Let's do it.
It's going to be a challenging conversation. Neil, I may or may not agree with you, depending on if I'm understanding you right or not.
Okay.
Or is what you're saying? So it has the entire world's store of knowledge. You have to tell it where to look, or like if you tell it where to look, it will be more effective because it takes it less effort to get to the CPA section or the because I think the game right now is context and managing your context, giving it the appropriate amount of context, not too much because then it freaks out. Like I've been doing basically one task per session. I just started a new one. But yeah, I wanted to I when you said take it away, that could be interpreted in multiple ways. And if it's the interpretation as you should give it less context, then I disagree. If it's
No, it's not less context.
no. Okay.
No, it's well, if you use Mercer's tools specifically, what he does is he gives a lot of context, and then through a distillation process, the AI comes up with its own subsequent context prompt that will take you to the desired end result given the next stage input. So, which I know sounds confusing, but it's a confusing. Well, not to Dylan, but to most people that sounds confusing. So, so no, it's not a matter of taking away context. It's a matter of taking away the irrelevancy that is baked into the corpus of knowledge. Just like any one of us does not know everything, right? And we would not be useful as human beings. Well, okay, aside from gossip. So we would not be useful as human beings if we did know everything, right? Because you need to specialize. And so the problem or the mediocrity that people get out of AI systems is from not giving them the where not giving them the I want to say embodiment. That's not the right word, but not giving them the end state they're actually trying to achieve. Because the end state is not a blog post, right? The end state is a customer who resonates with my story and then is attracted to me to be, a client or whatever it is, whatever you're trying to actually accomplish in the end, rather than trying to pick a tool. And so the whole approach is wrong if you're trying to get AI to give you a better tool. It can build tools. And Google just had a story, I think it was last week, where they were dynamically generating apps on the fly for a trial. But the thing is, what I actually want is the end. And like Christine said, getting out of LLM's way to take you to that end state. And so it's not taking away context. It's forming the right context, I think, is the better way to think about it.
Thank
So
you.
I agree with everything
That was
you
a
said.
very good explanation.
Okay.
Can I read y'all something that my AI gave me? I was talking to my AI about first principles, and I basically asked, it was a lot deeper than this, but the summary was why are first principles so much better? And this is what I copied. And I'm going to use this, I think, as like the foundation of my thesis that I'm teaching tomorrow. It said, the evolution of artificial intelligence from predictive text generation to autonomous reasoning necessitates a fundamental reconfiguration of instructional logic. At the core of this transition lies the distinction between reasoning by analogy, the default mode of both human cognition and large language model pattern matching. and reasoning from principles. While analogical reasoning serves as an efficient heuristic for navigating familiar environments by referencing historical precedents, it is fundamentally ill-equipped to address novel, complex, or high-stakes problems where previous forms are either inefficient or technically obsolete. So, and then it dives much deeper. And then it gives me this whole section on the epistemological divergence, axioms versus analogies. This is the thing that kind of blew my mind a little bit as I was thinking through that. LLMs have been trained on everything that we've written in an attempt to study human behavior. And that's why the analogy thing is baked into it, like from like a core fabric perspective. That's why ChatGPT is always like, this isn't just this is that. Always. Like every it's not this, it's not this, it's that. And sometimes we're like, it's not just this. It's so this kind of identification by comparison needs to be broken. And what I like about first principles, I don't think it breaks it per se, because I actually think the propensity still exists within whatever constraints you apply, but it really protects it. And so it's moving from analogy to axiom. Analogies are so dangerous. And all of us have had this experience. I gave this example on stage today of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. People were talking about AI, and I said that, the problem with AI from in terms of the way that you use it is there's too many value judgments to be made that we take for granted. So if you ask AI to make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you're going to assume it's going to go to the store and get bread and peanut butter and jelly and then piece it together the way that peanut butter and jelly needs to be made. That's not necessarily the case. It could order Uber Eats. It could also rob the lady next door who has peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. All those things are on the table because you haven't provided. And it's like, oh, haha, that's kind of funny. And also that's pretty much exactly what's happening when we're watching some of these agentic tools. They're like, oh, I can just steal this because you didn't give me that the value system would allow for constraint. The other example I said was, you tell AI, hey, I want you to drive my daughter to school every day and I want you to make sure she's safe. And AI does the arithmetic, and the safest she'll ever be is if there's nobody else on the road. So I murdered everybody in your neighborhood. Like there's no, and it's like, oh, that's kind of, you're going a little far afield. And I'm like, gosh, I don't think I am. And it's because the thinking, we've all had the experience where AI is like, solving problems. And then it does this thing to you're like, why did you do that? And it's because we're viewing it on a timeline and it's viewing it in this weird kind of like lazy Susan analogy it's not tied to the same like narrative that we're building. You know what I mean? Like for us, every problem that we solve connected to this project is like, we view that as a story. And to AI, I don't think that's the case. It's like every problem is a kind of a new problem and context matters, but it's in each time it's rolling off this new thing. Anyway, I went way far afield. To bring that back, analogy versus axiom. And I think Jacob kind of talked about that a lot. And I think Neil, you were hinting at it. It's analogy versus axiom, and it veers towards analogy, and we need to bring it back to axiom. And if we can do that, I think all of our shit is better. All of ours is better than everybody else's. So I'm sorry that got a little, I don't know, gobbly-goopy, but I appreciate y'all putting up with me. Neil says, analogy allows you to understand new experiences by mapping onto known things. Axioms use properties to build new things. Yes, thank you. Bro, you could have saved everybody 15 minutes, Neil, if you just didn't say that sooner. I got there. I took the long way. I'm having so much fun doing these calls. I'm having so much fun. I'm getting so much out of it. I reference them all the time throughout my whole day. I really appreciate everybody who shows up live. Dylan, Jason, Grant, Neil, Jacob, Brandon, Dave, and David. Kai, what's up, Kai? We were talking about you yesterday, dude. Christine Marie. Thank you. Thanks for the trust. Thanks for coming back. We're going to start teeing up some more guests. John was a hit. Grant's coming next week. Dylan hasn't really acquiesced to it, but we're going to keep poking at him. Here's the thing. He poked at me for John. I get to poke at Dylan for Dylan. And then if there's somebody else that y'all want to see brought to the stage, or if there's something that y'all want to teach, I'd love you to step up and take the mic. I'm never going to ask for stage on the stage. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think it's just like, hey, come show us your stuff, and then we can ask you questions like we did with John. And yeah, we'll just we'll continue to go. If you're watching this live, we go live every single day at 6 p.m. Eastern. The whole point of this is to just get a bunch of people in the room and talk about what we're supposed to be doing right now. I think there's too much going on for any one person to be able to keep up with all of it. So it's like, let's put smart, thoughtful people in a room together. And my only ask is that it stays productive and actionable. And I think we've broken that a few times softly, but for the most part, I actually think that we've stayed to it pretty strongly. And this has been really valuable for me. So, council, any last words before we jump ship? How do y'all feel?
I'm loving them. Thank you.
I think
Awesome.
this has been fantastic, and I'm very excited. And I think I should be able to make Grant your notebook LM tomorrow. I'm really excited to learn that. I've messed around with the notebook a little bit. I know it's extremely powerful, so I'm really curious to see what you have, because I can tell just by how much you have been hinting at it and smiling every time it's brought up, and constantly been pointing towards you, like, yeah, you guys are about to learn.
And Grant, you're going. When do you choose? You chose
next Wednesday.
Wednesday the 8th.
So you got to keep waiting a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
we're
it's
gonna
next Wednesday. Okay, I was thinking it was tomorrow.
Yeah.
My bad. So next Wednesday. Okay,
I bet you I
definitely
probably
make that.
said that. No, Grant's going to be the guest of honor Wednesday, April 8th. So if you want to learn, give us a quick sales pitch, Grant. If people are watching live, what are you going to teach us?
Yeah. Let's see, like how to use it from a marketing lead magnet capacity. Use it for, like, as an example, you last week you were talking about how you want to get on Diary of a CEO. So how you can use it for use cases like that. Really anything and everything, business operations related, for trainings, for SOPs, using it for like video creation even. And now, because they have that free cinematic video. I don't know if you guys have played around with that.
I didn't know that. No, I just recently learned that they pump out slides, and the slides are amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like another little thing. So today, one of my clients, I'm having Claude just build out a bunch of stuff in his tech stack, and I needed him to basically like give me 10 answers, multiple choice answers, to figure out what he wants to do next. And so I had Notebook basically draft that and send it off. He just filled it out, and then it went right back into Claude. It's just insane. Like, combining this, like just Notebook with other tools is such an unlock.
That's so cool. You're the biggest power user of Notebook LM I know. So if you're watching this, you get to come watch a power user use it. That's going to be April 8th, 6 p.m. EST. Dylan, you got your hand up.
Grant, I have a request. This is the thing I've been wanting the most. So like, I've been having Claude Code write me these big long research reports, and I want to put the research report into the notebook and then have it find the necessary sources for me to understand. Because it's like, here's 8 research papers that you're not going to understand. I want the like building blocks that lead up to that. Or basically, I want to put in one source and then it finds other sources for me. I know you can prompt it, but I can't be typing. I just have to paste.
Yeah. Have you tried, one little cool thing is if you put like images or anything that's code based in Google Docs and then upload the Google Doc into Notebook, it actually will source and like use OCR a lot better. So then, I mean, the context, you still need to provide a little bit of context if it's only code, but try that.
These are all text. I use Claude Code to do, like, instead of Gemini Deep Research or anything, I have
gotcha.
Claude Code do, and so they're markdown files.
Oh yeah, in that case, I mean, it should be able to just source exactly what you need.
Fellas, I think we did it. Gentlemen, lady. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's going to be a short one. I'm going to have 25 people here at the house. So I'm probably going to put you guys on the spot, and I'm going to have maybe everybody join from different areas, and we'll see if that gets super disruptive. But make them feel warm and fuzzy and loved and all those things. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. If you're watching live, you can subscribe. You can get the Daily Sigh sent directly to your inbox. Just go to dailysigh.ai. I'll send you a summary daily or weekly, entirely up to you. You can join these calls live by joining my free forever community. The Zoom link will be in the calendar. And other than that, mark your calendar. Every single weekday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Show up to learn. Appreciate the counsel. Peace.